Good afternoon. How are you? Well, it's 40 degrees, but it's so much more comfortable today. The humidity is like 110%. Well, okay, 80. And the wind is 2 miles an hour. So it's not so bad on that score. The road is a little slippery, and so I've worn my special shoes with cleats. So we'll see how that works. The nation has never figured out how to deal with our killing fields. If a society will let children be killed in order to save and protect the instruments of their death, that is not the sign of a civilized society. We say the words that reflect that belief, but our action does not correspond at all. There is a word for a mind keeping two antithetical propositions in the mind at the same time and respecting them both. I would think that the word really should just be plain ordinary confusion. When Columbine happened in 1999, it was considered a massacre. There were two 12-year-olds who shot 12 students and one teacher, killed them. Could there be an example of a greater gap between the words that we must stop this violence and the failed action that never followed? Is there? Is there a way to possibly explain this? I was on the Hill before the Rules Committee with Zoe Lofgren, Congresswoman from Silicon Valley. I believe I was her chief of staff at the time and her special counsel. And the Washington Post, I think, took a picture of us reviewing the language of an amendment that the Rules Committee would consider before the debate would go to the floor on what to do about Columbine. What was done was insufficient. Our amendments would have made a difference. Other amendments would have made a difference, but they were resisted. So from 1999 to 2024, children are killed because we won't stop the gunfire. We talk about what's the motive of a kid who would do this. Is that the question? What about the motive of people to flush our streets with guns of every type, including war guns, that can kill people, dozens of them, in an instant? What is wrong with us not to make that connection? At the OK Corral, great gunfight. The reason it was at that corral was because there was a rule in town that you had to surrender your guns, but the OK Corral was outside the town. And so that's where they had their gunfight. Whatever remnant of it corresponds to the truth as to the legend. So today, a Christian school in Madison, Wisconsin, how ironic, a student killed a teacher, a student, himself, injured 6, and the ones in the hospital are in very difficult condition. There's a further irony. It sounds terrific, doesn't it? I don't know if you can see them flying. There we go. Sorry, couldn't catch them. There's an irony in that the school is called the Abundant Life Christian School. Abundant life. So, did this person kill a teacher because what they were teaching, what they stood for, that they were hypocritical, that they were too good for the student? And would we have to consider any of those things if this kid couldn't get a weapon? And consider the fact that it was his own suicide, a revulsion. Wow, look at that. Isn't that the beauty of nature? We have so much evil and hating in the world, killing, justifying it, scratching our heads wondering how it could happen, when the example every day is of violence. We speak against it, but what do? We do it. They can't understand why that 26-year-old in New York who shot a CEO for a health insurance company, they don't understand how that could happen. These things happen when there is no law and order. And when you take a thought that it's okay to have a gun to kill a child, and we're just going to memorialize it but never do a damn thing about it, then you have some insight into why we have killings. Abundant weapons, no restraints, dead children, dead CEO. Name it. How many are there? There are hundreds by now since 1999. And, you know, what are they teaching at that Christian school? I don't know. Where does that come from? And when a child has a gun, did he get it from the house from his parents? Prosecute those bastards. If you cannot take care of your child, if that's not some form of neglect that results in the death of others, they should be crushed to the earth in a civil sense for having caused the unwanted, unnecessary deaths that we've been on notice for 24 years can happen if we don't handle guns the right way. Subtract weapons and children live. That's the message. What can we do? Well, fire every one of these people in Congress, in your state legislature, in your school boards, in your boards of supervisors, a justice of the peace, the sheriff who wants to have a deputy in the school who may run away at the first time that any violence is seen or observed. So, do I care about this? Well, obviously by my voice, by my passion. But what is the definition of a life? For me, a person has one lap around. Those who believe in an afterlife, if it's there, fine. But I believe that this life is a work of art, and you only get one chance to do it, and you do it well, and you go off the stage, and the people who care are your surviving family and friends. And then, as it's been for thousands of years, we go off into the mists of time. We're gone. So that teacher who was killed is no more. That child who was killed is no more. The shooter, in his injustice, is no more. A community is bleeding soulfully because we haven't done a damn thing about guns. Oh, don't mention it now. People may be persuaded to do something. Well, I'm not sure that works. Hasn't worked so far. Not since 1999 and even before that. So, if you think you have a right not to be shot at because somebody else wants to manufacture and have guns, then tell your local officials that. Tell them you're going to cashier them if they don't deal with it, if they don't take care of it. Because remember that phrase, Declaration of Independence, life, liberty? Life, liberty. No life, no liberty, no existence. Some say, how can you live with the fact that this is it? Well, because that's what's been parceled out to me. I get to have this experience. I can't pass it on to anyone else, except we do by mimicry. We look upon people and we're persuaded not by what they say, that can be a waste of time, but how they act. You know, I remember looking at my dad or my mom, even my younger brother, and I drew from these examples things that matter to me to this day. There are teachers, people who intervene in your professional life and help, people you become intimate with as friends. That is the life we get to live. We can have challenges and risks and scary health emergencies and lose friends. And so, like the flickering of a light, people are here with us and then they're gone. And to make light of those people who are gone, why? Because people are disposable? Well, America is on the verge of being an unequaled shame and disgrace in so many ways that but for us who speak out and push back, the world would conclude that we were beyond salvation. Why aren't we? We have 4 years. We have the remnants of a constitution and laws that can constrain the worst among us. But we have to do more, and protecting our children and women and men and everybody from some asshole with a gun is paramount today, rather than everybody going off and being counseled and cuddled and grabbing their rosary beads. To what effect? Tell the politicians enough is enough. It's worked to some extent in the past. It may improve the situation, but we have bloodthirsty people who are hurting and killing us by their impassivity to one of the greatest failures of our American system, the love of firearms. So, I say goodbye to you until tomorrow. It's pretty pleasant out. I missed the snow though. Bye-bye.